Hi fellas, Mick here. I'm sorry about not posting lately, but I didn't have many ideas on what to do. But I do have one. There's this little game I would like to play, and I want to call it Arceus Damnit. The basic point of Arceus Damnit is to take a claim that supposedly proves God and attempt to use the same logic to prove that Arceus, a real deity figure who exists within the fictional Pokemon universe, is also real in real life. And if I manage to prove Arceus using the same kind of logic that the creationists put forth, then the person whom I am responding to loses. I'm gonna go through several videos in a row just because I want to keep it brief, and I'm not gonna be commenting on anything inside them outside of the actual purpose of this game. I think I've selected several different fates, and you'll be seeing the links to the videos I've used in the description. So with that in mind, let's get going.
So here's a little proof for the existence of God. Wait, here's a little proof, and I thought it was interesting. The guy, but this is how it goes. So this guy, Guido, he thought that, he had a little, I don't know that necessarily he even proved it or came up with it, but he thought that this justified the existence of God. So, as he said, something had been created from nothing, but...
Okay, so far the Pokemon universe has been created from nothing, but...
I think he was a bit incorrect in his approach. Alright, well, 0 equals 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus whatever. Well, we can rewrite the zeros as 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1. Well, then let's get rid of the parentheses. Well, let's regroup the parentheses. Let's just kind of shift them over a little bit. Well, now we have 1 plus negative 1 plus 1 plus negative 1 plus 1, etc. And now what we have is, well, 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. And hey, that's going to give us 1. So...
well, shit, you just proved a godless universe, because the universe can come from nothing. GG! Oh my god, I didn't even have to do this! Oh my god!
How do you know God exists?
Prove to me, give me some scientific proof that there is some creator out there. From an Islamic perspective, we can flip the question around and say that, in fact, what type of proof do you need other than each and every proof out there?
In the Pokemon universe, it is directly observed by the protagonists and appears to have enough influence on the world to actually attempt to destroy humanity. It also appears in some of the Pokemon Sand games. For example, it is again visible to the main character in the Pokemon Conquest games, and it also sometimes appears as an event Pokemon in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeons series. Point is, Arceus and the events of Arceus can be actually directly observed and supposedly also recorded, and Arceus is evidently more than just a legend in those times. And even with that, just having a gigantic crater full of divine bombardment holes and some kind of a holy energy radiation, that would be rather convincing to a lot of people.
So from the Islamic perspective and paradigm, the proofs for the existence of a creator are so numerous that to begin to enumerate them is in fact nonsensical. And this leads us to a very interesting point, and that is that the same information can be digested and understood differently depending on the paradigm. So the one who sees will look at things in a manner that the one who cannot see cannot look at. Because from the Islamic perspective, he has the benefit of eyesight. So there's something called the fitra, there's something called the purity of the soul, the conscience, there's something called basically the spiritual DNA that Allah created each and every human being upon.
From a child's perspective, there is so much evidence for Arceus that you don't even have to bother listing a single one of them. And then when questioned about it, you can just bring up that the child has a different perspective, and thanks to its inability to understand that humans may have different perspectives,
when the person is sincere, then the fact of the matter is that fitra is like a faculty that is more powerful than hearing and seeing and thinking combined.
The child's uncorrupt imagination is, in fact, a faculty. It is more powerful than your ability to think, see, etc.
And the fitra can then examine everything around. And the proofs for the existence of Allah are the very fact that we exist and the creation exists.
And the imagination can examine everything, and the fact that we exist is the proof that Arceus exists.
The famous Western philosopher said, I think, therefore I am. We as Muslims can modify that and say, I think, therefore God is.
But you can apply that to everything! I think, therefore, I don't fucking know, Princess Celestia is. I think, therefore, Mega Man is. I think, therefore, a giant true story told donut which will never expire and that I can eat till the rest of my fucking days exists. I think, therefore, my furry kitten penis is barbed.
The very fact that we exist and the creation exists is enough of an indication that there is someone who created and designed this. Now,
the very fact that we exist is proof that Arceus created it and designed us.
We are ingrained to know that every single effect must have had a cause that caused it. This is the way we work our lives. Everything around our lives centers around the fact that we understand the causal relationships between things that take place around us. And to suggest that everything around us simply came to be without any predetermination, without any knowledgeable, powerful entity that was able to create it,
such as Arceus,
is so ludicrous. How do you expect me to go around finding the proofs of God when each and every thing around me is screaming his existence?
Sorry, I just imagined a whole field of sunflowers just raising their faces up to the sky and going, "Oh, praise be Arceus!"
In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, how many are the miracles and signs? They keep on passing by them, and they do not pay heed to them. They do not acknowledge those signs.
Yeah, the signs for Arceus already exist, and you're just so arrogant you refuse to recognize them, even though they're basically right in front of your eyelids.
There are numerous examples, and no volumes can be large enough to contain them all, even if they filled the whole planet.
Oh god, it's this guy again. Please don't claim harassment.
A. Insulin, the hormone that allows our bodies to use glucose, is secreted by the pancreas in the exact same amount of sugar we consume.
B. The power of our hearts in pumping blood is exactly equal to the energy needed by the muscles when exerting any effort. C. The one-way valve of our stomach prevents the influx of digested food that would otherwise harm us. D. The sphincter muscles located at the gates of our orifices, without which our clothes would have been soiled the whole time.
What does this have to do with God?
Allah says what means, "We did not create heaven and earth, and all that is between them in vain. That is the opinion of those who deny the truth. Woe betide those who deny the truth, when they are cast into the fire." Chapter 38, verse 27.
In other words, appreciate the universe I created, or I will fuck you up. From the brief dive into the Pokemon Wikipedia that I had and read up on Arceus, this is not that far from their characterization.
The more we ponder and look, the more we realize the marvels, the wisdom, and the intricacies of this creation.
And that's it. Obviously, I cut some stuff out, but it was mostly either fluff or irrelevant stuff. But yeah, if you are religious and you find yourself convinced by any of those arguments, you must necessarily also find yourself convinced of the existence of Arceus. Because it's the same logic, it's just applied to a different subject. In the same way that applying a kick to a rock will move it, and applying a kick to a metal circle will also move it, provided that their masses aren't too excessive. So yeah, that's it for today. I know it's a stupid, silly video, but I mean, there's not that much I can do if my source material is stupid.